Hey everybody, thanks for joining me for another issue of Sam's Device Advice. Today we're going to be looking at sharing in Google Drive. Now, sharing is actually one of the more impressive features in Google Drive and one of its best features. However, it can also be a little bit confusing as well. So I'm going to give you some quick tips as to how to do this effectively. So we're going to be talking about sharing items, how to set different permissions for what you share, how to find items that were shared with you, and also how to share using a link. So let's jump over to my dashboard my desktop, and let's see what we're working with here. So in the last video, we talked about how to create files and folders using Google Drive. But what we want to do now is we want to look at sharing the files and folders that we've created. So I'm going to open up my example page I made from my last one, and I'm going to show you a couple different ways to share. One way to share is directly inside of the document that you're using. So in this case, we're going to stick with Google Docs, but this works with Slides and Sheets and the other Google apps as well. And if you follow my mouse up to the top right, you'll see this big blue share button. All I need to do is click on this button here, and I'm going to get this share window. Now, what this lets me do is a few things. I can type in somebody's name, and if I'm in a school board, it's going to start pulling up their email address. If I'm not in a school board, I'm probably going to have to type in the email address as it is. So we're going to start with just the easiest way of doing this. So I'm just going to type in one of my other emails, so samsdeviceadvice@gmail.com. I don't always speak when I type, but sometimes I have to. Now you're going to see this window below that allows me to add a note, let the person know what I'm sending them or why I'm sending it to them. So this is for a test. You'll see below you can click notify people. What that does is it'll send an email to them in their Gmail account, so they'll get a notification there. If they know it's coming, or if you just don't want the email to show up, you can turn this off as well, and it takes away that little message. I can add multiple people here if I want to, so I can share this to as many people as I need to. And then you're going to see this little pencil over to the right. This is where you set your permissions. So this is going to change how people can access your document that you're sharing. So by default, it's set to can edit. So what that means is that whoever I send this to has full access to this, and they can edit it as they please. If I choose can comment, it shows up as a locked file that they can view, and they can add some comments on it. We're going to look at comments in a future video. But that's going to just control it a little bit more for you, but they can at least give you comments there. And then can view is the final one, which obviously is going to lock this down completely, and it almost treats it like a PDF file. So that way they can't make any changes to your original. For now, I'm going to set it as can edit, so I can show you a few things there. And then once I'm done with that, I can click send, and now the other person is going to get that in their Google Shared with me. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to split my page into two so you can see what it would look like on the other person's end as well. Now here's a tip for you. This works on Google Chrome and in Windows. If you grab a window here, drag it all the way to the left or the right, it's going to snap to that side and take up half your screen. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my other Google account, and I'm going to snap it to this side. So it's a little bit cramped, but you get the idea. So this is in the person who received it. So this is my Sam's Device Advice email address, and that's the address I sent to from this file. Now, if this person, let's make this full screen for a moment. If this person were to go into their Shared With Me folder, so that's in their Google Drive page, they'll click Shared With Me. This is where they're going to find all of the items that were shared with them. And as you can see, it's just things that I'm sharing to myself, kind of like a crazy person. So I can go ahead and double click this file, and now as the second user, I could go in and start making changes to this. Now I'm going to split this back to split screen again. What's kind of cool is that you can see who is typing where. So if I am this person on this side, this I've called sample student 1, this is me typing as another person. Sad that it took me that long to realize I didn't write person. So this would work if I'm in a different building on different computers. We could be collaborating on the same file and working together, and it's going to show the other person where you are looking and what you are working on at that time. So that's how you would find something that was shared with you inside of Google, is again in your Google Drive. you would take your mouse and go down to shared with me in this left-hand column, and you can find an item that's been shared with you. Now, let's say I wanted this item to be only accessed by comments. I don't want that person to be able to edit it. I can go back up to my share button, and I could share it to the next person and make them can comment. But let's say I've shared it with somebody and now I want to change their access. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click this advanced button, and it's going to show me a few more options here, and it's going to show me the person that I shared it with. I also have this shared in a Google Classroom, and to the right I can now change what kind of access I have. So I can actually make them the owner of this file, which is a handy thing to do. If, let's say, you're leaving a school board and you want to transfer items over to somebody else, you could set them as the owner. But let's say I do it as can view. Now if I scroll down, I have to hit save, and now the other person, let's go back to their window, doesn't have access rights anymore. So it's told them that they no longer have editing rights, and this is only set as a view file. So now they can't get in here, they can't type and click, but they could still see me update this. So you could actually share this to your group of students and be working on a document live, and they see you typing remotely, which is pretty handy. Another thing we can look at is some additional features and kind of security features that are in this advanced button. If I click advanced and I scroll all the way down to the bottom, you're going to see these two additional boxes here under owner settings. The first one says prevent editors from changing access and adding new people. So if I am the creator of this document and I'm working on it with a few other people, but I don't want them to share it to anyone else, I can click on this button, and then the person I've shared it with is unable to add their friends. Very important thing to use if you're using this for tests. Make sure you click on this so students can't share it to one another during the test and work on each other's documents. The next one says disable options to download, print, and copy for commenters and viewers. So if I have somebody set as can comment or can view, by clicking this button, it means that they're not able to make their own copy of this or download it or print it. So maybe this is proprietary, or it's a test that I want people to review, but I don't want them to be able to make a copy for later. I would click that. And again, I'm going to have to click Save Changes for this to take effect. So the last thing that I want to show you while I'm in this document for sharing is what Google calls link sharing. And really what that is it's getting a link that you could then send as an email or post on a board that would give somebody access to this document. So what I'm going to do is up at the top right, you'll see the button that says Get Shareable Link after I've clicked on my share button, and it's going to open up this new window. So your school board might have a different default setting for this option here, where it says anyone with the link can view. Now, because I'm not using a school board account, I won't have those additional options. But if you were to click here with your school board account, you're going to see a number of options that refer to your school board alone. So you can set it that only somebody with a school board login would be able to view, comment, or edit. And you can also set it that anybody, whether so it's parents or outside of the network, they could access it as well. So let's say I want somebody who has this link to be able to view my document, but I don't want them to be able to edit it. Now, I could take this link and add it to an email and send it out to a parent group or to somebody in a different school board, or even somebody in my own school board, and they could click on that link and it'll bring them to this document. So let's copy this. It did say it already copied it for me, but I can click this button and it copies it to my clipboard. And now I'm going to open up what's called an incognito browser, and it's just a way to essentially give me a fresh new window that's not logged in with any other account. And I'm going to paste that link up here, so I'm going to press Control V to paste this link in my URL bar and hit enter. And now it's going to bring me to, again, this view-only version of this document. So that's how you would send this out to people that you want to give access to, but you might not have they might not have Google Drive, or you don't have their email address directly. And we're going to look in a future video of how to make that even easier for workshops and for students. Now, the other way you can share is when you are in your Google Drive, you're not actually in the document itself. you can just right click, or again on a Chromebook, take 2 fingers and tap on it and bring up this context menu. And again, you see this share button here. So if I click share, I then get the same window that I would have had in my other, like when I was in Google Drive itself or Google Docs. You still have your advanced settings, so you can do all of the same things, so you don't actually have to open up the document if you don't want to. So far we've covered looking at sharing items, we've talked about setting permissions, and we looked at how to find your shared items, and then we also made sure that we can share using a link and then send that out with an email. So as always, if you have any questions or concerns, or you just want to bounce some ideas off me, my email is sam@samgoving.com. Otherwise, take care. Hope this is a useful video, and have a great day. Cheers.